Good morning, students. Hope you are doing well. More important, hope you have gone through the previous video session. I received the homework as well as classwork copies, exercise copies in the PDF form, almost from, not almost, to be specific, from 72 cadets. Those are not sent. Please do it at the earliest. Please send the question and answers related to the history and civics chapter and the holiday homework political map of India. Please send to my email in the PDF form at the earliest. So today let us study about the branches of legal system. In the last video session we discussed about jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Jurisdiction of Supreme Court. In that appellate jurisdiction we discussed about the judicial review, the power of a judiciary to review the laws passed by the legislature and cancel those laws which are against the terms and conditions of the Constitution. And in the last online class, we discussed about the case which is filed in trial court, then moved to High Court, then finally moved to Supreme Court related to dowry death. This case is discussed to give you two major inputs. One, how a case moves from the trial court to the Supreme Court, and this entire process is known as appeal. For the power of every citizen is given the right to appeal or appellate jurisdiction. At the same time, it is also makes us very clear that the case explains the how evidences and the statement of witness makes a very crucial role in deciding the fate of any criminal case. Now, today let us study about the two branches of judiciary. In the above case of dowry death, that is Sudha Goyal and Lakshman's case we have studied in the last class. In the above case of dowry death falls within what is considered as a crime against the society. So, dowry death, of course, a crime against the society and violation of criminal law. So, it's a violation of criminal law. In addition to criminal law, the legal system also deal with civil cases. So, civil cases and criminal cases. So, two branches of legal law, civil cases and criminal case. You read in chapter 4 how a new civil law is passed in 2006 to protect women against the Domestic Violence Act. So, we discussed about Domestic Violence Act and how Domestic Violence Act protect women from any kind of violence, physical, emotional, sexual, mental, or any kind of harassment in a domestic environment. Look at the following table to understand some significant difference between civil and criminal law. So please understand the two branches of legal system is known as civil and criminal law. Now let us understand the difference between both. Criminal law. Criminal law deals with conduct of or acts that law defines as offense. For example, theft, harassing a woman to bring more dowry, and murder. So what is the civil law, criminal law explains here? Deals about the offense like theft, murder, harassment of women, etc. It usually begins with lodging an FIR, the first information report with the police who investigate crime, after which a case is filed in the court. If found guilty, the accused can be sent to jail and also fined. So, how the criminal law proceeds? Take, for example, if there is a theft in someone's home, what you have to do? You have to go to the nearest police station and file a complaint. When you file a complaint, the police will come and do the first investigation. So that is what first information report, FIR. Means police will write what is the condition which when they went and saw that particular spot at first. Once it is done, then police has to prepare a charge sheet. Once the charge sheet is prepared, then the case has to be handed over to court. How this is about criminal procedure code. After that, court will ask for witness and court will listen both sides of arguments. Most probably you have seen in the movies and all. So once it is done, then court may, we are seen in the case of Lakshman's case, the Supreme Court gave a punishment of life imprisonment. This is about criminal law. How the civil law deals? Civil law deals with any harm or injury right of an individual. For example, dispute relating sale of a land, purchase of goods, rent, divorce cases, etc. So what is civil law? Civil law is purely a law in which direct FIR and arrest will not take place. A petition has to be filed before the relevant court by the affected party only. Means take for example, you are supposed to get a property from your ancestors, your brother, sister. If he or she is denying that property to you, then you have to file case. So once the case is filed, then only the procedure begin. In a rent matter, either landlord or tenant case file a case. The court gives specific relief asked for. For instance, a case between landlord and a tenant, the court can order the flat to be vacated and pending rent to be paid. So what happens in the civil law? Civil law judgment will come from the court, but here you arrest or penalty, sorry, punishment will not be there, like imprisonment and all. They are not in the civil law. So there are two branches of legal law. One is called Civil Procedure Code and second one is Criminal Procedure Code. Regarding Criminal Procedure Code, next chapter we are going to deal in detail about how a criminal case proceed. On the story basis, we are going to deal in chapter number 6. Now let us move to an important topic. Does everyone has access to the court? Filing a filing a case in a Supreme Court or a filing case in a High Court, it involves huge amount of money as well as time required. So the question comes here, can a rich person, of course, can file a case, but an ordinary man, is it possible to file a case? So this is what access to judiciary. In principle, all citizens of India can access the court in this country. This implies that every citizen has a right to justice through the court. As you read earlier, the court play a very significant role in protecting our fundamental rights. If any citizen believes that their rights are being violated, then they can approach the court for justice to be done. While the court while the court so while the court are available for all, in reality, access to the court has always been difficult for a vast majority of the poor in India. So approaching the court is, even though we say it is anybody can access to the court, but is it possible to a poor man to have such a huge amount of money? The legal procedure involve a lot of money and paperwork as well as take a lot of time. For a poor person who cannot read and whose family depends only daily wages, the idea of going court to get justice open often seems very remote. So, in response to this, the Supreme Court in the early 80s devised a mechanism called Public Litigation Act. Please try to remember PLI, that is Public Interest Litigation. Now, public interest litigation is very proactive step taken by the Supreme Court of India. Why it's a proactive step? Because people and ordinary persons who suffer a major social nuisance or a problem, then they can file a case in Supreme Court without spending any money. So that particular system is known as PLI, that is Public Interest Litigation Act. The Public Interest Litigation or PIL to increase the access of justice. It allowed any individual or organization to file a PIL in the High Court or the Supreme Court on behalf of those whose rights have been violated. So, public interest litigation, for example, if a dam is constructed in your place and because of the construction of dam, large number of people are evacuated or asked to leave that particular place, and those who are affected by the construction of the dam, if they are not paid compensation by the government, then it's a problem of public. It's not a problem of one person. It's not an individual problem. So definitely anybody from that particular affected or an organization can file a direct case in High Court. Now question here comes with the High Court, because in such a cases there is no need to follow the structure, like first file a case in trial court or the lower court, then go to High Court. It's not required. Directly you can file a PIL, public interest litigation, in High Court or in Supreme Court. A legal process was greatly simplified, and even a letter or a telegram addressed to the Supreme Court or a High Court could be treated as PIL. So, understand, a simple letter, a card letter which is written to Supreme Court can be also treated as public interest litigation. In the early years, public interest litigation was used to secure justice on a large number of issues such as rescuing bonded laborers from inhuman work conditions and securing and release of prisoners in Bihar who had been kept jail even after punishment term is completed. Did you know the midday meal of children now receive in government and government aided school is because of public interest litigation. So very interesting here. Of course, in 2001, there was severe drought in Rajasthan. Millions of people faced the shortage of food. Whereas, meanwhile, the government godowns in nearby places was full of grains. Now, in one situation there was hunger, and another place there was excess stock of godowns of rice and other essential commodities. So, for a common man, access to the court is access to the justice. The court exercises a crucial role in interpreting the fundamental rights of citizen, as you know, as you saw in the above case. The court interpreted Article 21 of the Indian Constitution on the right to life to include the right to food. They therefore ordered the state to take certain steps to provide food for all, including or starting a midday meal scheme. So, beginning of a midday meal scheme, it is purely because of a Public Interest Litigation Act. However, there are also court judgment that people believe work against the best interest of the common person. For example, the activists who work on the issues of concerning the right to shelter and the housing for poor believes that the recent judgment on eviction are far cry for earlier judgments. While recent judgments tend to view the slum dwellers as encroachers in the city, earlier judgment like 1985 Olga Telly's case said that there should be livelihood should be given to the slum dwellers. So here you can understand Olga Telly's case, it is clearly explained that it is the responsibility of Mumbai Municipal Corporation to provide the housing facility because right to life is a part of fundamental right. So, according to Article 21 of Indian Constitution, life means something more than a mere animal existence. It does not mean merely the life cannot be extinguished or taken away, for example, by the imposition or execution of death sentence. According to the procedure established by the law, one aspect of right to life, an equally important facet that right to life, livelihood, because no person can live without means of living. So it is very important to provide livelihood. So according to Article 21 of Indian Constitution, it is a right of every citizen to get the proper civil facilities like housing, sanitation, pure drinking water. It's all responsibility of the government to provide according to the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, that is the right to life. So this is a particular chapter, and of course here it is a given that the judges number of judges in Supreme Court. There is always shortage of judges in Supreme Court. The members of Constitution, so that's the reason why a lot of pending cases in Supreme Court and High Court. So question and answers. I'll go through this. The first one you read, one of the main functions of judiciary, upholding the law and enforcing fundamental rights. Why do you think an independent judiciary is necessary to carry out important function? Answer to that, an independent judiciary allows the court to play a central role in upholding the law, enforcing fundamental rights. It ensures that there is no misuse of power by the legislature and the executive. Anyone can approach the court if they believe that their rights have been violated, and politicians or other socially powerful people cannot use their power to change any judgment. Second, reread the list of fundamental rights provided in chapter 1. How do you think the right to constitution remedy connects the idea of judicial review? The right to constitution remedies allows an individual Indian citizen to move to the court if he feels that any of his fundamental right has been violated by the state. As the final interpreter of the constitution, the judiciary has the power to review or even strike down any particular law passed by the parliament. If it believes that this law violates the basic structure of the constitution, which is called judicial review, in this way we find the right to constitutional remedies gives in the fundamental right is directly connected to the and supported by the idea of judicial review. So this is about third question. The lower court sentenced to death, High Court left them free, whereas Supreme Court gave them imprisonment for life. The accused took case to the High Court because they were unhappy with the decision of the trial court. That is true. They went to High Court after Supreme Court has given decision. So what it is false actually. So what you have to do answer is from trial court they went to High Court. If they do not like the verdict of Supreme Court, the accused cannot go back to the trial court since the Supreme Court is the highest court of appeal in the Indian judicial system. Why do you think introduction of public interest litigation (PIL) is a significant step in ensuring justice for all? The introduction of public interest litigation in 1980s is a significant step in ensuring access to justice to all because it also keeps in mind the interests of the illiterate or the poor who are not educated enough or cannot afford to access to the Indian legal system for justice against exploitation or violation of their basic fundamental rights. So this is about chapter number 5, that is judiciary. Please go through the chapter, complete the question and answers. Then next class we will move with one more chapter, that is understanding our criminal justice system. So I repeat once again, those are not sent the question and answers, please do at the earliest. Please send only in PDF to my mail, not to WhatsApp. So please send only to mail, not to the WhatsApp. Thank you. Wish you a wonderful day. Thank you very much.